Hi, welcome to Chapter 6 of Human Relations, Understanding Your Motives. First of all, we're going to cover quite a few theories of dissatisfaction, quite a few concepts of dissatisfaction, how to motivate others, also what makes employees satisfied. One thing we know, though, is that when an individual is dissatisfied with their job, we start to see what's called progressive job withdrawal. These are behavioral changes that we see happening and going on. Now, behavioral can be physical as well as psychological. So the physical withdrawal we see when employees start to become dissatisfied with work is we see that they leave their job, of course. They also may request a transfer. They may start to become tardy or maybe late to work. They may request conditions to be changed in their job. And also there's the psychological withdrawal. Now, this is where they start to disengage with the job and team members. They become less organizationally committed. So maybe they stop joining committees. Maybe they become less productive. Maybe they spend more time, playing on Facebook than actually doing work, trying to find places to hide to get away from other people. That's going to be the psychological withdrawal. So when you see these signs from individuals, they're probably hitting a place where they're starting to become dissatisfied with their jobs. So theories of human motivation, we have the Hawthorne studies, okay? Between 1927 and 32, a series of experiments were conducted at the Western Electric Hawthorne Works Company in Illinois. They were wanting to research. They wanted to see how the physical and environmental factors in the workplace, such as lighting, break times, would actually affect employee motivation. And basically his conclusion and explanation, they were very surprised that they found no matter which experiments were performed, worker output was improved. So basically what they kind of came to knowledge to say that when you improve or when you make changes that are positive to a work environment, it motivates employees. It motivates them to increase productivity because it makes them more happy. It makes them more satisfied with their jobs. All right, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We've discussed this before in other chapters. This is something you're going to see in every single chapter. In just about any field you're in, you talk about Maslow. So Maslow's hierarchy of need basically works like this. We have a hierarchy of what's most important to us to satisfy, needs to satisfy, starting with the physiological. And I'm writing with a mouse. So please forgive me. So starting with the physiological, these are things like food, shelter, all right, food, shelter, safety, water, being in a place that, having enough money to pay the bills. This is your physiological needs. Then we have your safety needs. Okay, with safety needs, these are basically your health, for example, which can also kind of fall in physiological, but your health, living in a safe place, being in a safe place where you feel comfortable and you feel safe in the environment. Also, next goes social needs. These are having affiliations, having others around. Affiliation. So if you think about it, if your physiological needs aren't being met and you're scraping to get by and trying to get food, you're not thinking about making friends at work. Okay, this is not something that you're doing. It's not really your concern to make friends if you don't have your safety and physiological needs met. So you want to have those needs met first. Next is going to be esteem. Okay, with esteem needs, we're looking at wanting to have our, I guess you could say, respect, people notice us, opportunities at work to grow. And again, you're not really worried about people respecting you or recognizing you or getting that esteem attention if you don't have, if your physiological needs aren't met. You're just not wanting. You're just not looking at, you're not caring what people think about you. If you're trying to struggle in these areas here, you're not thinking about, well, what's my esteem need? And again, writing with a mouse, which is hard. ESTEEM, esteem needs. Last is self-actualization. Now, self-actualization is kind of where you reach kind of sort of an enlightenment. You're happy, you're content, things are going well, all of your prior needs are met, you have respect in your field, you feel good about what you're doing. So all of this. So basically, people are very motivated to get 1, 2, and 3 taken care of. Those are very, very basic needs and important. And then esteem and self-actualization does come later. All right, so the Heinsberg two-factor theory. So the Heinsberg two-factor theory, you have motivation factors and hygiene factors. Your motivation factors are things like achievement, recognition, the work self, responsibility, advancement, and growth. Whereas hygiene factors are things like company policy, supervision, relationship with manager, work coworkers, salary, and relationships with peers. And then you have carrot and stick. Okay, so when we come to carrot and stick, this is a type of motivation where it's kind of like, you do this, you can have this. You do this, you can have this. So it's kind of like you're constantly chasing that. If you don't increase your sales by 10%, you get fired. Or if you increase your sales by 10%, you get this bonus. Okay, so there's kind of like a reward for something versus being fired. So if you don't increase your sales by 10%, we let you go. Versus if you increase your sales by 10%, you get this bonus. And usually they make the bonus, pretty sweet. So, and they're really looking for a 5% increase. But hey, if you can hit that 10, they'll take it. So that's the carrot and stick. So why does motivation matter? Just real quick, let me go over that really quick. Why does it matter to motivate others? Well, as you saw in the story, when you read the beginning of your textbook, if we understand our own motives, we can choose a career path that makes us happy. So we can look and see what we want out of life, what motivates us, what gets us going. And you just did the motivation, intrinsic, extrinsic motivation, assignment discussion for this week. So what motivates you? Like, what gets you going? Do you more family time? Is that something that's going to keep you happier with your job? So knowing what motivates you can help you get into a track that you want to be in. So, all right. So what are some strategies to increase motivation? Well, money, that's what people throw out there. They always go money. Yes. Salaries and benefits, absolutely important. Okay. For sure. It's like, probably one of the number one. Salary and benefits is the number one thing people look for, especially when they are younger. So some of the things with salary and benefits, instituting a standard process. So many organizations do not have a set pay plans, which can result in unfairness when onboarding an individual. So you may have somebody come in who's making more than another person, or somebody coming in who has more time off than another person. I remember we had one instructor who they didn't teach in the summer. They had every summer off, and they worked it into their contract. That's how they contracted things. And people were like, well, that's not fair. And it's like, well, you could have contracted it for yourself. But you have to find a fair way of and defendability of why you're doing things the way that you're doing things. You also need a pay communication strategy. Many companies work hard to make sure the fair process is communicated to employees. Transparency in the process of how raises are given. They can communicate with other companies. Like the state, for example, has a very, very clear-cut line of how raises happen and who gets raises. It's pretty clear how the state operates with regards to raises. All right, paid time off. Companies pay us not only to our salaries, but also time that we're off, possibly. So paid off holidays and vacation time may be an example. So some places will allow, 2 days, you earn 2 days every month, calendar month, up to 20 days for the year or something like that. So you get 2 weeks a year basically that you have paid time leave. Now some places do not have that. My husband's first IT job did not have that. He didn't have any paid time off. He got he had PTO sick leave. So if he was sick, he could get 5 days a year off sick. So they were pretty strict about it, but he was also very unhappy with that job. So of course he started looking for one right after he got it. So training and development is another great way to motivate employees. So the more training an individual gets, the more confident they feel in their job, and they feel kind of like they have a place. Performance appraisal, giving employees performance appraisals, telling them how their job is going and how they can do things better, and also what they are doing well. That's a very, very important part of the appraisal. If you just get kind of told everything's wrong, that's going to really unmotivate you. But if you get some critiques that help you improve yourself and that also can help you to later work, that's good. All right, succession planning. This is kind of grooming the next person to be in the next position. So proper succession planning shows that we must accomplish at each level in order to obtain a higher level. So you may have somebody who right now is working on the floor, but their goal is to be in upper management. So they kind of have a conversation with their manager to say, hey, what do I need to do to get looked at for potentially being management somewhere? And a good leader is going to say, all right, let's do this. Let me help you with how you can be, versus, oh man, you'll never get out of here. I got lucky. I mean, that's unfortunately what a lot of managers will do because they worried about their own positions. But a good leader is going to say, yeah, let me help you rise up. Let me help you, train you a little bit. You got to come in on time. You got to be a little neater. When you get asked to do extra things, instead of being like, oh man, yeah, sure, let me help you out. I'll be here for you. So next is flex time, telecommuting, and sabbaticals. So allowing people to kind of have flex time when they work, as well as working from home, can also be very helpful. And then management training, allowing people to apply to or to be allowed to do management training, can be very motivating to stay with a company. So conflict management and fairness. So outcome fairness. This refers to the judgment that we make with respect to outcomes we receive versus the outcomes received by others with whom they associate. Procedural justice, or the process used to determine the outcomes received. We are deciding if something is fair. We need to look at consistency. We need to look at bias suppression, information accuracy, correctability, representativeness, and also ethicality. Ethicality meaning the decision that was made it covers a moral standard. And that kind of jumped on me. Those go together. Oh, I just went over this. So consistency, bias suppression, information accuracy, correctability, representativeness, and ethicality. We need to make sure we're covering all of these bases when we're deciding on fairness for a job hiring, or job person climbing the ladder, or job position switching, or working on teams. Got to try to keep that in mind, keep that balanced. All right, enrichment, enlargement, and empowerment. Job enrichment. This means to enhance a job by adding more meaningful tasks and make it more rewarding. And then job enlargement is defined as adding a new challenges and responsibilities to your current job and can create job satisfaction. I know that seems kind of like, what? You're going to add more to my job and that's going to make me more happy? Yes, actually research supports this. When you give somebody more responsibility that is meaningful, SPONS, more responsibility. Writing with the mouse is fun. RES. If you give somebody more responsibility, they actually can, it can help with satisfaction. And again, remember, it has to be something that is, you feel is valuable. If you just get more and more thrown on you, that's job enlargement. It doesn't feel like it's valuable. But if something that feels valuable, then you will have more satisfaction. Next is empowerment. This involves management allowing us to make decisions and act upon those decisions with the support of the organization. So the organization supports making those decisions. All right, so what are some other ways that we can motivate? Well, some other ways that we can motivate are things such as having a gym on site, having childcare, yoga, summer Fridays are always nice. Support groups are great. And then life coaching as well. So these are just some things that can really help individuals. Kind of like, hey, I got Fridays off. Not my favorite job. I'm not 100% into it, but I got every Friday off. I can spend more time with my family, so it's feeling good. Life coaches to help with life outside of work or at work even. So these can be some perks that can really help motivate employees. So to summarize this chapter, when we start talking about what motivates us, we really have to get down to what is motivating for the individual. So you may have one person that having, saying we're going to do company Fridays off. To them, it's like, it doesn't really help me much. Like having a Friday off, like extending my hours Monday through Thursday. My wife works too, or my partner works too. So, or, I'm single and I like to go hang out with friends for a game on Friday nights at 5. So extending the workday Monday through Thursday may not be the thing for them. So realizing, first of all, that motivation is something that is personal, can be very personal. So it's not going to work for the same thing's not going to work for everybody. So knowing yourself is very important. So the theory of job withdrawal explains the process someone goes through when they are not motivated or happy at work. There are many motivation theories that attempt to explain motivations for work. The Hawthorne studies were a series of studies in 1927 that initially took a look at physical environments, but found that people tended to be more motivated when they felt cared about. The implications to retention are clear, that employees should feel cared about and developed within the organization. So any changes that were made, this is the key here. So you gave us better lighting. You must care about us. So yeah. Maslow's theory on motivation. If someone already has met the needs, has their needs met, giving them something to meet more than a need will no longer motivate. Maslow divided the needs into physiological, safety, social esteem, and self-actualization. Many companies only motivate based on the lower levels, but developing training opportunities can help with that higher level self-actualization. Heinsberg also developed motivational theories based on actual motivating factors for motivating factors and hygiene factors. Hygiene factors are those things that are expected in the workplace and will demonstrate, and will demotivate employees when absent, but will not actually motivate when present. If a manager tries to motivate on the basis of only hygiene factors, turnover could be high. Motivation on both factors, however, is the key to retention. And remember what those factors were? Let's go back up. Let's look at it. Where are you? Oh, I didn't write it down for you. Okay, so remember the motivation factors were things such as having an opportunity for achievement, recognition, the work itself, responsibility, advancement, and also growth. Then the hygiene factors, remember, were company policy, supervision, relationship with managers, work conditions, salary, and peer relationships. Just hygiene factors, if they say, hey, let's just get everybody having a better relationship. Let's work on that. That's not going to fix things if there's stuff. If a company's not working well and there's issues with employees and high turnover, just trying to make people get along better and just having good supervision isn't going to help. People want to grow. They just do. All right. Oops. And again, it's personal. So you may have somebody that, like, for example, I love being a faculty member. I love teaching. I think teaching is fun, especially like the live session teaching. Thank you for those of you who have been coming. Because I like when people ask questions. That's very motivating to me when people ask questions and things. So, all right. But I also, I enjoy online as well. So, okay. So, Next is McGregor's theory on motivation looked at managers' attitudes towards employees. He found that theory X managers had a more negative attitude, while theory Y had a more positive attitude. He wanted to provide training to managers in our organizations is a key retention strategy based in McGregor's theory. All right, the carrot stick approach means that you get somebody to do something by prodding them and offering them a motivator. This theory implies these are the only two methods of motivation, of course, which is not true. The implication of this retention plan is such that we must utilize a variety of methods to retain employees. Carrot and stick doesn't always work, because sometimes the person is like, hey, listen, I got what I got what I need, I make enough money. I need more than just money to be able to feel like I'm part of something. Sorry, I'm sipping my coffee. All right, now, finally, understand our own motives at work as an important step to making sure we choose a career path. Salaries and benefits is a major component. Training and development meets the higher needs of the individual. Many companies offer tuition programs, so that's kind of cool. In fact, I had a student actually send me an email saying that they needed a letter written about their participation in class and all of that because their employer was paying for their education. I thought, well, that's okay, sure. I gave the letter to them, so I didn't send it out to anybody, but they said just to send them an email with how they were doing, and I said sure. And they later told me that the company they're working for, it's only a 4-person company, and the guy that owns the company actually said, hey, listen, I will pay every penny of your tuition as long as you continue working with me while you're in school, and they give me 2 years after you get out of school. And the guy was like, yeah, I'm all over that. So he jumped right on it. And that's beneficial to both parties. He's getting somebody who's trained and educated, and he's training him his way, and he's going to work with him for a couple of years. And my student said that he loves the people he works with, and, it's a small company that he has a chance to do a lot with, so he may stay. You never know. All right. Next is performance appraisal provided avenue of feedback and goal setting. This can help. Succession plans allow employees to see that there is a place for me to grow. There's growth here. And then companies use flex time telecommuting also as motivators. Also, since one of the reasons people are dissatisfied with their jobs is sometimes because of relationships with managers, companies can require management training and communication training to ensure that managers are able to establish good relationships with their employees. Some companies may change the job through empowerment or enlargement, as we saw. And again, I know it blows your mind to think, wow, you're giving me more responsibility. That's not going to make me happier. But if the responsibility is, you perceive it as valuable, like, for example, I was added onto 2 different committees. I see those committees as very valuable to my college. I see it as very important that these processes get done. So it didn't bother me. I was like, yeah, of course I'll be on those committees. I'd love to help. Other more unique ways that you can also, for your employees, is you can have like dry cleaning service. That would be nice, having a dry cleaning service. I didn't mention that one earlier. But this one I cut and pasted from your book. The other one's from my head. But dry cleaning services, off-site yoga classes. We have a gym at Piedmont Tech, which is nice if we use it. I've never used it, but it's nice though to have it. So, all right, well, that's the end. For those of you who are here, thank you so much for stopping by. I will be posting this, so no stress. You can watch it later. And don't forget, your exam is coming up. Thanks a lot. And I'll be doing the next chapter on my own, and I'll probably have that posted up sometime Friday evening. Thank you so much, and have a great day.